welcome, welcome, welcome. This is a Public Works podcast. My name is Joseph Blackman. Today, we got a real treat for you. His name is Ron Romero, and he is the Assistant Director of Austin Resource Recovery at the City of Austin in beautiful Texas. Ron, say what's up to everybody.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
All right, Ron. So, Assistant Director, Austin Resource Recovery. You know, I love these vague titles because, again, do they really speak to what is actually happened? So give us what your job title is, and then give us what you actually do, because sometimes they're different.
Exactly. Yeah, don't get fooled by the fancy title. Assistant Director here at the City of Austin at Austin Resource Recovery. I've been blessed to be at this department for the last 25 years. I've seen it grow. Man, there's some really good things that's happening here at the City of Austin. But yes, Assistant Director here for operations. I lead a team of about 250 employees, and what we're responsible for, the team that I lead, we're responsible for all your curbside services. We pick up your trash, your recycling, and your composting and your yard trimmings. The majority of our employees are, of course, are drivers. But we've got a really, really strong leadership team here. So I like to tell everybody that we're here to provide essential services, which we are, but we're also here to keep your community clean. Austin, I see Austin, this is my personal bias, I see Austin as one of the top 5 cities in the U.S. And it's so green, it's so clean. And the mission that we're on here, by picking up your trash, your recycling, your composting, leads to that title that I like to give to Austin as one of the cleanest, greenest, most beautiful cities in the U.S.
Cleanest and greenest. I like that tagline. I like that.
Yes,
give us the day in the life of a Ron Romero. You start you start early. It sounds like. Tell us when you get to the office and kind of what you're doing. I know you're not hanging off the back of a truck, pulling trash cans, but you probably got a full day. Run us through your whole day.
Yeah, that's a good question. So, every bit of planning that we do here, trying to plan what a day is, usually never works out. We get here, our day starts at 5:30 in the morning, and just depending on what's going on with the weather, with the employees, with the equipment, we've got to pivot. There's so many things that are different. We're looking to make sure we have enough resources to accomplish the task for the day. So I'm the type of assistant director that is boots on the ground. Ron Romero does not lead or manage from an office or behind a desk. Employees see me in the morning. Employees see me asking questions, talking to our fleet personnel, talking to all of operations, listening to our employees. But our day starts at 5:30. And what I like to tell everybody is we make it work. We accomplish our goals. We get your trash, your recycling, and your composting picked up. It's not behind the scenes. It's not a pretty picture. We're having to move different pieces around, people around, equipment, shifting personnel and equipment to different places. But at the end of the day, what our customer, what the residents and the public see is a beautiful package with a nice bow on it. They don't see everything that went into us packaging that package up, thank goodness. But at the end of the day, it's a nice, beautiful package that we present to the public, and we've got all your services collected.
For sure. You said the weather. Like, what does the weather have to do with trash pickup? Like, if it's wind, go ahead.
Didn't in my younger days, I didn't believe climate change. Yeah, that's just a myth. That things are. That's not that, but as I've become more seasoned, obviously, the climate is different. Things are happening. Austin, we've had, unprecedented winter storms here that have shut us down for days, which, in my previous years here, had never happened. But even just a windy day when we're picking up recycling, and, one of our rules is don't bag it. Just throw your recycling, throw everything loose in your cart. Don't bag it. And on a windy day here in Austin, that creates havoc for us. We're getting
I'm sure.
we're getting calls from the city council office. We're getting customer calls about recycling just blowing up and down the neighborhood. So there's different things that we need to do. We'll switch out equipment. We'll switch out personnel. We'll pick up areas of the route, earlier, maybe instead of later. So there's things that we need to do to kind of pivot to make sure the operation is successful. But yeah, weather, and then if it's raining, there's going to be an hour wait at our landfill.
Really?
Moving in and out to dump at the landfill. So we've got to plan for those different things. So yeah, weather has definitely become a factor in our planning, our daily planning.
Yeah, well, as a city constituent, we never think about that. Like rain, hail, sleet, snow, windstorm, thunderstorm, whatever. Like there's changes that need to be made logistically, for these things that happen in these essential services. Let's talk bulk pickup. It's like for some reason, like we moved from the Bay Area to Peoria, Arizona, and out here, at first they were just doing kind of the, twice a year they come around at this certain time and you better have your stuff on the street. And then they went to the appointment system, which I kind of like because, you can kind of schedule an appointment and, you could preemptively, prepare for it. Tell us how Austin does bulk pickup.
Very similar. And, we were a twice a year bulk pickup organization and department where we would come every 6 months. We had it on a rotational schedule. We'd be there every 6 months. Neighborhoods would be able to count on us, kind of coordinate their neighborhood cleanings and expect us. If we were coming in March, the next year we're probably coming in March again. But we kind of researched what we were doing. We talked to other cities, and I don't know if we spoke to the Bay Area that you're referencing, but we moved to the same on-demand model where customers can call in. Instead of twice a year, we give them the opportunity to have bulk pickup 3 times a year. So we've got a system that tracks when they call in and they schedule, and they can schedule when we give them a kind of some calendar dates on when would be best for us to be out in their neighborhood.
Wow.
But the feedback that we've gotten, people who love it. People love it. They love, doing it, whether it's before the holidays or before kids are getting out of school for the summer. They like the ability to kind of schedule at their own time.
Yeah.
So the feedback that we've gotten when we switched to this model, and we've been following this model probably for about almost a year now. We piloted and got some good feedback from the community, and then put it in place in January of this year. Rave reviews. Our customers and residents love it.
That's cool. That's super cool. And I'm still I still try to figure out how I accumulate so much stuff to actually need bulk pickup. Like, what am I doing in life where I need bulk pickup twice a year? But here we are.
Exactly. And I think that's most of us,
Yeah.
My wife and I, we're empty nesters, and we do the same thing. She loves this on demand. And she's like, oh goodness, we can kind of clear all this furniture out. Like, how do we accumulate so much stuff?
Yeah.
It's a really positive program. It's gone over very well with the community.
Sure. 25 years, 250 employees. That's a lot, whether years wise and employees wise. We know you didn't just sprout up yesterday and become the person you are, or even the assistant director. Give us the Ron Romero career path, so if somebody younger is listening to it, they can go, hey, I can too take that path to become where you're at.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Well, it just so happened that, it wasn't my intent to get into the public works world or the solid waste world. There was a position here that was available, and I applied for it and I got it. And quite frankly, I believe it was an administrative clerk position back in the late 90s that I had applied for and ended up getting the job. Well, it's just, as you get into this industry, public works, solid waste, to me, I like to tell everybody it's infectious. You kind of get exposed to the programs that we have in place, or the initiatives that we're pushing. The keeping your community clean, picking up trash, making sure that the right of way is free of litter and debris. When you're out there and you volunteer, you see the programs and you see, what they mean to the community that you live in. I mean, it's infectious. So of course, I dove into it, And just over the years, just, you know, stay late, ask questions. I was lucky in my career that when I first started here, I found a mentor that kind of guided me. A gentleman by the name of Vidal Maldonado saw something in me, and just kind of took me under his wing and exposed me to a lot. Gave me insights on the industry, things that were happening, things that I might need to focus on. So it's like I said, it just became infectious. I stayed here. I didn't want to have job opportunities outside of the organization, but it just caught fire with me, and I continued on. Soon promoting to a supervisor, then manager, and then division manager, and here assistant director. I've been in this
Wow.
role, I think almost 4 years, but just our mission and what we do is just it moves something in you, and it's just infectious.
Sure, sure. Let's talk skill sets. Skill sets meaning what got you to where you're at. Because again, there's people that I've met in this industry that have been in the same position for 25 years, whether it's the same lead operator, supervisor, and they haven't necessarily progressed upward.
Mhm.
Give us the main skill set somebody should pick up to be successful at what you currently do.
Well, um, goodness, I can probably think of a handful, but I think one of the things that's really important is adaptability. Being able to adapt to changes. I stated when I started here in the late '90s at this department, I think we had 110 employees. We've grown to an organization of over 600. At that time, we were part of the Public Works Department. As we've grown, and as in most larger cities, solid waste has broken off to become its own department. And, it's so large with the equipment, the budget. So adaptability is really important. There's so many changes with your makeup of your employees. You've got the younger employees. You've got the more tenured and seasoned employees. You've got changes in equipment. I can tell you used to pick up everything, in the back of a truck and just, sling the bags in or dump the cart, or automated, how we've moved towards automation. And then of course, technology. Technology has continued to change and evolve. So one of the big skill sets in being a leader here in this department and in this industry is just adaptability. You've got to be able to kind of change with the times. I like telling people a story about COVID. This department used to be a department where our employees would work. If they could work 7 days a week, they would. They were just so focused on overtime and making money and that type of thing. And then all of a sudden, COVID hit, and there was a big paradigm shift.
Interesting.
After COVID hit, employees became more of a work-life balance that we saw here in this department. So we thought it was a great shift. That way we could work with employees, because of course, employees should have that time off and still spend time with their families. But yeah, there was a big shift here in this department in the makeup of our employees, where before it was rah,
Yeah.
overtime, and now it's like, hey, I need a vacation, I need some time off, or my kid has something going on at school, I really like to get off early to spend some time with him. So we've kind of pivoted and are definitely supportive of that.
Yeah, no, kind of to echo what you're saying, I think that is in a lot of different industries. A lot of people kind of got kicked in the butt by COVID, whether you got sick or you lost a loved one, or just you saw your future finances starting to dry up because of the job loss or furlough, whatever. But
Yeah.
it kind of made us reset. We're going, whoa, let me slow things down and let me see what really matters in life. And you start looking around what really matters, like, does that extra 8 hours of OT matter, or spending some time with your wife and kids, or your husband and family? So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, and us as leaders here, the executive team, and us as leaders in leadership, kind of need to work with employees to get that, to achieve that balance. There's things that we can do, whether it's bringing in other employees or shifting duties, but for the sake of retaining employees and retaining good talent, it's real important that we help support that work-life balance.
Yeah, yeah. You talked about litter, and it's interesting. When I think of litter, I don't necessarily think of solid waste, but and the question I'm trying to ask is like, who does Ron go to? Because litter can end up in the park, which means that's the Parks and Rec department. Litter can end up in the storm drain, which is the storm. We know who heads up the storm in Austin.
Oh, yeah.
But,
he'll call
yeah.
every now and then.
and that's what I'm kind of getting at. Water can end up in the wastewater, or litter can end up in the wastewater system. So there's different things that your solid waste that might have, again, blown out of a trash can in the middle of the night and ended up in a compadres or your one of your co-workers departments. What's that conversation like? Who are you talking to throughout most of the day? Like, what are those conversations like?
Yeah. Well, I don't lead that area. That's one of my colleagues, Amy Slagle, who's an assistant director here, actually leads the litter abatement area. But I can
Really?
kind of
Okay.
walk you through what we do. We have partnerships, of course, with all departments. We've got great communication with our sister departments. You mentioned watershed. We have a weekly meeting that talks about, things that are going on, within the other departments, challenges that they have. But we've got some programs that we've put in place here that are very, very strong, popular programs. We've got a litter crew that goes out on a daily basis, this one actually 7 days a week, and clears the right-of-way. They pick up trash and debris from the right-of-way. We've got a very, very popular street sweeping program that covers the city multiple times, residential and commercial areas, multiple times a month. So that in turn helps, clear litter and debris from, getting into the gutters and getting into our storm drains and such. But it's the big thing is the communication with the other departments and just kind of letting them know what resources we have, challenges that they have. But yeah, our department, Austin Resource Recovery, has really evolved into a 24/7 department. We're from midnight to noon. We're out there picking up trash and debris, from the roadsides and cleaning your streets, just so we can kind of keep this community as green as possible and not affect those other things, the roadways and the street drainage.
Sure. Okay. All right. It's story time. I need a story from Ron. When something went wrong under your watch, what you did to fix it, and then what lessons you learned from it to apply to your future career.
Ooh, okay. Ooh, that's a good question. Good question. Something that went wrong. Okay. Well, things that go wrong usually turn into opportunities, things that we can kind of build on. So probably the biggest thing that I can think of is, and I mentioned it earlier about climate change. So about 5 years ago, Austin had a huge, unprecedented winter storm. And it shut down the city for a couple of days and, delayed services. I mean, everybody, the whole city was shut down. So we got information that the temperatures were going to start warming up. And so I made a decision to bring crews back in on a delayed basis, let the weather warm up and let the ice kind of start melting. And, let's get back to catching up on our essential services. So me and a couple of other leaders made the call to bring everybody in. Everybody showed up. Dispatch started going out to their routes. And about 30 minutes or 45 minutes into the workday, we started getting calls from our dispatch and from our supervisors. Hey, drivers are slipping. The ice is still too thick. We're having some challenges. We don't want to have an accident. The weather is not at the point where we can provide collection services in a safe manner. So we ended up calling everybody back and then sending everybody home and just let the weather warm up the rest of the day and started services the next day. So looking back, we probably should have done some things. Maybe go out to survey the routes that we were going to hit. Maybe send some crews out. Our supervisors at that time were outfitted with the chains on their trucks, so they could have gone out and kind of done some scouting about it. Hey, is it safe to operate or not? So Learning opportunity. Obviously, we were happy that our employees got back safe and the public was safe and there were no incidents. But a learning opportunity about putting some protocols together for the next storm. Would create a team to go out and survey routes. Talk to the weather service. Talk to our emergency management department. Hey, what are you guys hearing? Street and bridge. Communicate a little bit better. So we put some protocols and some practices in place, and lo and behold, 2 years later, boom, big ice storm. So we implemented a lot of the changes that we had made on some protocols that we were going to follow before we actually got out there and serviced our residents. And we made the call, hey, yeah, we can't run, for the sake of the safety of our employees and the public and, our equipment. We're just going to go ahead and delay services. So, it was, like I said, it was a learning opportunity and some things that we were able to put in place for the next time. It worked for us the next time.
Wow. Yeah. You learn from it.
You have to learn from it.
Yeah. That's the spice of life right there for sure. All right. Let's say it's 2 a.m. and Ron Romero's staring at the ceiling. You can't get any sleep. You're tossing and turning, and it's because of work. What's Ron Romero worried about at 2 a.m.? What's keeping you up?
Goodness. There could be a variety of things. It could be some items that are going to city council, the next day or so. It could be some changes, some operational changes that we're making, that we may be getting some static from our employees about, how best, I'm thinking about how best to communicate changes and how we can, kind of smooth that over and prepare our employees for changes. Goodness, it could be, the concern. Ron Romero lives this life, this public works and solid waste life, and my wife would definitely tell you, hey, you gotta disconnect sometimes. So, this industry is just so fast moving, and it's changing, and there's different things that are going on. So, it can definitely give you some stress and keep you up at night. But I think for me, when that happens, that's a signal that I probably need to take a mental health day or a day off and just kind of disconnect. What's good. I try to focus. If I'm at that point after dealing with the situation, I figure that I'm going to take a day off. And what does Ron Romero want to do? Do I want to go hear some live music? Do I want to go on a day trip with the wife? So it's good to have that in your back pocket, to have a strong leadership team behind you that you can take that day off after the stress of the job starts to affect you and keep you up at 2 o'clock at night.
For sure. You and I, we met in Chicago. I would like to ask the question, like, how terrible is it to go with Ron Romero on a road trip? Like, are you looking at every refuse truck that passes by and seeing how they spec'd it out? Are you flipping up trash cans to see how they're demanding their constituents, fill them out? Like, what's kind of your recon work when you're on the road? Like, you're with your family, you're supposed to be unplugged.
Yeah.
What are you doing reconnaissance wise?
Joseph, that's a question. Ron Romero lives this life and has lived this life for, like past 25 plus years. A good story is last year, my wife and I went to Puerto Rico, and Puerto Rico, beautiful. Puerto Rico is just wonderful. I mean, if you haven't been, I suggest everybody go to check out Puerto Rico. Great, whatever it is, state, commonwealth, or it's a great location. Right, yeah. So we land there, and of course, we check into the hotel, and we start doing our tourist thing. And what does Ron Romero do? Ron Romero is looking for the trash cans. Ron Romero is looking for the recycling bins. Do they have dumpsters? Do they have trash cans? Ron Romero is looking for the trash truck. And my wife, of course, has lived this life with me for the last.
She's rolling her eyes, yeah.
Yeah, she's like, oh, come on, can we just disconnect? Hey, there's a bar right there. Okay, you talked me into it. But, Ron Romero, whether it's in Chicago, whether it's in Puerto Rico, I do like to see what other cities are doing, what type of equipment they're running, that type of thing. But it's just something that it's hard to kind of shake, even when you're on a personal vacation.
I'm sure. I'm sure. What's something that Ron Romero does intentionally to keep showing up better year after year after year? You can easily just put your feet on the desk and say, I've been at this for 25 years. Like I've seen it all. I've seen the ups and the downs. I got it all up here. But what's something that Ron does intentionally to keep getting better and better?
I did mention that I think it's good. Every couple of months, I do like to take a day off just to kind of recharge and do something that I enjoy doing, whether it's a day trip someplace or, my wife and I enjoy the parks and live music, that type of thing. So I think that's really important. But professionally, one of the things I like to do, I like going to conferences. I like networking. I like talking to other cities, even if it's just a call or a Teams call or Google call. Hey, what's going on over there? I've met so many people in this industry, people, City of Austin, oh, call Ron, call Ron. So I've been blessed to have a good network. And that's one thing that helps me keep connected, seeing what's going on in other communities, what's working. We love hearing success stories, but at the same time, we like to hear about what's not working. What are the challenges other communities have? And sometimes we don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's good to share ideas and programs and mimic what other cities have going on. But professionally, what helps me is just being able to network, to talk to other communities, other industry leaders, and even leaders outside of this industry. I've met so many people at these conferences, where I've met you at, that are in the tech world. Talking to what's going on in the tech world, talking to people in the software world, just really kind of sticking your finger out there and kind of seeing what's going on in the world. Doesn't necessarily have to be in the public works or solid waste industry, but that's one of the things that keeps me going and keeps me charged. I'm always motivated to know what else is going on out there. What can we possibly get into?
Sure. You talked about technology. I mean, we're talking solid waste. Like it's something that's been around since the beginning of time.
Sure. Yeah.
But I'm sure there's some tech out. You don't have to name companies or anything, but there's some solutions out there. You're like, oh, that dog will hunt. Or like when they get it figured out in the next 5 to 10 years, they'll be like, oh, that's going to be powerful. What are some of those things?
Yeah. So we I guess really after COVID, we really started looking at tech a lot closer. How can we work smarter? What's out there that can help us be more efficient? To automate some process. Solid waste departments for years have, been just so paper driven. Everything's on paper. And a lot of our employees have gotten so used to that. So that was a big change as we kind of started to introduce technology here in our solid waste world here in Austin. But the technology is out there that actually help our drivers and make their jobs easier. They're not having to write anything down. If you have a tablet in the cab of your truck and you're able to just hit a button instead of having to stop and look for the street sign, look for the address, you actually have a pad there that's populated with the address that you're right in front of, the technology that is available nowadays. So technology here at the City of Austin has helped us, become more efficient, work smarter, and, expose our employees to, a different aspect of the job. Change is hard. Like I said, we've had some seasoned employees here, that have been just writing everything down for years, getting them trained up and getting them adaptable to technology is an investment. It may be slow at first, but it's an investment. But technology has made a big difference here with the City of Austin. Some in-cab technology that we have, just helping us work smarter and safer.
Sure. What have you seen? It could be within the City of Austin, or some of your co-workers or colleagues around the industry. What have you seen that has worked in regards to getting the new generation, kids that are 18, 19, 20, 21, to join the industry, to come work for the solid waste department instead of going to, it could be the armed forces, going to college, or going the trade route, being a diesel mechanic, whatever. Like, what has worked to get youngsters in this industry?
I think it's good that we're out there promoting these jobs and kind of showing how they've changed. You know, it's not a big manual job the way that it used to be, where just you were running on the back of a truck or running behind a truck. You know, these jobs have evolved over the years. You know, and we started at job fairs. We actually start in high schools. We start recruiting in high schools. While I'm a big proponent of education, I understand that graduating and then going on to college is not for everybody. So we need to have a good, healthy a job force here and go out and recruit those employees. These are great careers. We've had employees that have been here 30 plus years. So these are great, solid careers for people that may not be interested in going to college and that route.
Sure.
But it's good that we market these positions and show how they've changed and they've evolved. We've had great success with some of our younger employees. I like to say that they gain knowledge from the PS2 and
the dexterity. Yeah.
So they get in an automated truck and man, they can work that lever. We've got some great employees that are younger. So it's just real important that we're out there talking to the community, letting them know that this career is an option for them. And it's a great career working for the city of Austin. Great benefits, great retirement, and we need to continue to market that to those groups of people that may not be interested in going to college.
Sure. Yeah. Whenever you might be scrolling Instagram, maybe it was a couple years ago, or Facebook, and you'd see a post that says, "Oh, the garbage man makes $82,000 a year," and it could be fictitious. Like it could be like with tons of overtime, and he's at the end of his career, so he's got all this stuff piled up. But little posts like that, whether it's clickbaity or kind of falsified, like that stuff works. That stuff gets youngsters to go, "Oh, I can make a decent living by being a refuse truck driver or garbage man." Like that stuff works, even though it's a little bit embellished.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, that may not be too far off. But
okay. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that might be low. Yeah.
The city of Austin here definitely has a minimum that they start employees off on.
Wow.
And as you can continue to progress in your career and you get additional duties or you're learning more skills here, definitely it's an investment here. But
Sure.
Working for the city of Austin is it's a good place to work.
That's good. That's good. Let's say you're at that bar in Puerto Rico, right?
Yes, sir.
Some random guy sitting next to you, and he says, you seem like a cool guy, Ron. What do you do for work? What do you tell this guy? And then what do you think he thinks after you tell him you're the assistant director of Austin Resource Recovery?
Yeah.
What's a misconception?
A misconception, obviously, you've got a talker here. I'm going to talk your ear off. I love talking about, my job here and my experiences here. What I like to do is people that ask me what I do, I definitely like to get them exposed to, the public works world and the solid waste world and kind of give them some details about, there's a lot of misconceptions about what this job is or, how dirty it is or, just the way that it's been, depicted in the past, the historical, job that this used to be and just how it's evolved. I like to kind of walk them through how things used to be and how things are now and just the advances of public works and the solid waste world. And at the end of the conversation, of course, I like to tell them about, how I lead the team and the things that we do and the impact that we make here with the city of Austin. But at the end, what I want them to do is just kind of just go on their own and kind of research, the solid waste and public works world in their community. Hey, Ron said a bunch of interesting things. I like to plant seeds in having conversations with people. That way they take even just the smallest of things. Hey, he talked about recycling. Maybe, when I go back, can we recycle that here? Whether Puerto Rico or whatever city that they're in. I like to just plant those seeds that gets people thinking about different things.
Yeah. I like that. I like that approach. All right, let's say you're commissioned to put up a billboard, and this billboard is in the most trafficked area of Austin. What ask of your community in regards to resource recovery would you put on this billboard?
Ooh, that's a doozy. That's a good one. A billboard slogan.
Like, what would you want from the city of Austin to help you guys out do your job?
Okay. I would probably say something to the effect of create a real fancy, eye-catching billboard that says something like, does this item deserve a second life? So what we want to do is before people throw something in the trash, we want them to think about what they're throwing in the trash. Austin has a big lofty goal here about diversion. We're trying to meet some goals here by 2040. And we're trying to save landfill space, So creating some type of billboard that says, hey, does this item deserve a second life? Maybe the item, can be donated. Maybe the item can be reused. Our department has fix-it clinics, where you can take an appliance or you can take a dress that is torn to this fix-it clinic and, have it sewn. They teach you how to sew it, or they help you repair the appliance. Our goal is to divert as much as we can from the landfill. So creating a big fancy billboard that just prompts our residents and the city, the people here in Austin to think about what they're throwing away. Hey, maybe I can sell that on Facebook Marketplace, hey, $5 or $10 is better than it going in the trash, so we have to think of different ways of disposal, everything shouldn't be going into the trash. So let's kind of shift that mindset and just kind of think about what we're throwing away. So something to that effect.
Okay. All right. Always like to leave a space on the show for you to thank mentors that you had along your journey. Then the second part is I want you to give a word of inspiration and motivation to your fellow assistant director, resource recovery constituents across the nation.
Okay. I spoke earlier about one of the mentors that I had early here in my career, a gentleman by the name of, when I was hired here as an administrative clerk, his name was Vidal Maldonado, and he was one of our public service managers. What I appreciate about him as being a mentor is just very transparent, someone that recognized something in me. He saw me staying late. I was definitely never have been a clock watcher, and just started to expose me to what this industry was, programs, initiatives, get my thoughts on certain things. So he was very instrumental in getting me promoted over the years, giving me the tools and the confidence that I needed, to continue and maintain with this department and organization and continue to move forward. A gentleman also by the name of Sam Angori, who was our deputy director at the time. As I started to move up, again, someone that recognized potential in me. He continually said, I was a teenage parent, so, I had to come in and start working to support the family. I had started college, but I didn't finish. So Sam, in his meetings with me, being a great mentor, hey, you really got to get back to school. Go get your degree. The city has tuition reimbursement. If you got to take a day off or you got to take an afternoon off, just let me know. But you got to go get your degree. You're a leader. You're gonna be somebody, and you've topped out. You can't move forward, to these higher positions until they require a degree. So he was such a good motivator, just believed in me, pushed me, supported me, and he was there when I got my bachelor's degree, and, enjoyed learning so much that I'm about 9 hours away from a master's degree. So, there's something to say about enjoying learning and education later in life. I guess I just appreciate it more than I did when I was younger. You asked about inspirational or motivational.
Yep.
I think that, talking to my colleagues, assistant directors, deputy directors, I think that it's just important that we continue to be leaders and mentors to the talent that's coming up. I've been here 25 years. I'm not going to be here forever. It's important that we invest in those that are behind us to continue the legacy, to create new legacies and continue to build what we've put in place here at our organizations. But just to continue to share knowledge, be transparent. I think it's great to create a really strong leadership team, but have somebody waiting in the waiting in the weeds for you if you retire. Somebody that can step in. It's good to invest in people. I always preach. I've become one to preach about education, but education means different things for different people. It doesn't always mean a degree. For some people it means a certification. For some people it means just having a commercial driver's license, getting that certification. So I'm just real big on education, but what that particularly means to that person. It may not mean a degree, it may be something else. So we need to continue as leaders to support that.
Now, I appreciate you saying that. A lot of people think that, oh, I got to get, educated. Well, in our industry, the beautiful thing about it is that you can get a cert, you can get a pay bump with that, and you can, like you said, you can be more upwardly mobile instead of just 4 years, get your college degree, then you graduate, like most of us did. And we're like, now what?
Yeah.
I got this paper they said was going to be magic and get me a good job, and it doesn't. But in our industry, you can get a cert and know exactly what that pay bump is going to look like, how long it's going to take, and and where you can go from there, which is what I love about it.
Yeah. And recognizing what the potential in each of your employees, some people don't aspire to be an assistant director or a director. No. They're great being a senior driver, or they're great being just a manager or a supervisor. And we have to continue to invest in those people also. Certifications, trainings, conferences. Just because they don't aspire to be one of the leaders of the organization, we need to continue to invest in them.
Yep, for sure. All right, let's say I'm coming to town. I'm coming to Austin.
Oh, you got we're gonna have some fun if you come to town.
And then I text you. I say, Ron, where can I go to get the best burger in town? Where are you gonna send me?
Oh, that's a good question. I tell you what, there is a place here in Austin called Moreno's Barbecue. And not only are they known for their barbecue, my wife and I went there about a month ago, and we had heard talk about, hey, they've got a great burger. You guys look at their burger. So my wife goes in and orders a sampler plate for the barbecue. I do the burger. And this burger was amazing. 5-star. So it's a half-pound brisket patty with all the fixings, and they grill it right there in front of you. You want it well done, you want it medium, you want it however you want it. They grill it right there in front of you. Wow. Let me tell you, you add on everything that you wanted, the onions, the veggies, everything on there. Man, 5-star burger. You got to check that out. Moreno Barbecue. If you're in town, me and you are going there.
My man, I like it. Don't tell me with the good time. All right, Ron, well, thanks for hopping on the podcast today. Thanks for sharing your wealth of information and knowledge with us. To all the listeners out there, make sure you share this with somebody who you think needs to hear it. Ron, any final words before we get out of here?
No final words. I do like to say, hey, we're doing some good things here at the City of Austin, at the Austin Resource Recovery. You can always follow us on austinrecycles.com. Look me up on my LinkedIn. I like to post things that are going on at our department and things that we're involved in. So, or come see us. We'd love to have you here. So,
sure.
Good to talk to everybody, and I appreciate you guys listening in today.
All right, Ron. Well, thanks for hopping on. This has been the Public Works Podcast, and thank you everybody for tuning in.